So disclaimer, I never played Mega Man before and kinda suck at these games, but this shit kinda lit. I know this game ain't my usual booty extravaganza, but in my defense, it got waifus in it. One Step from Eden is a roguelike Mega Man inspired game, according to sources, by developer Thomas Moon King, and published by Humble Games and Maple Whispering Limited. Thanks, team. The story of the game follows you, a person with crappy hand-eye coordination, thinking you can follow 12 things happening at once on screen. But the overall theme is each character is aiming for Eden, and to do so they have to overcome a dumpy amount of obstacles in their way, including monsters, hostages, and bosses to say the least. And speaking of bosses, on your journey you gotta make a choice, whether to spare or not spare said bosses, and that will determine your ending and final boss choice, assuming you can defeat them at all. One step. This game is kinda hard. Gameplay consists of you mashing buttons till stuff dies. Or you can play it the normie way, I guess. Combat is pretty simple. You move on the grid to dodge attacks, which can be a clusterfuck to navigate occasionally, and attack using characters' default skills or weapons. Default skills and weapons can be used usually without using mana, but sometimes you need mana. In other words, you can't always use your default skill without, waiting. Is that the best way to describe this? But more importantly, the second way you can attack is using spells, and there's a dumpy amount of spells to use in the game. Spells usually have a company or class associated with them that kind of determines the elements or overall effects. But more often than not, you'll probably just choose whatever you think suits your build at the time. And like I said, there are a bunch of spells, so there's going to be a bunch of ways to actually play this game, and a bunch of builds to accompany it. Want to hoard shields and make every spell or spell jammer give you shields? Go ahead. Want to limit yourself to fire? Go ahead, you weirdo. Want to summon a bunch of pets or structures? You got it. This game is a roguelike, so odds are your build is always going to be different for the most part. But Eden makes some of them fun. Now this is the part where I probably include some lewds, but I don't think I want to indulge in a group rule 34 search, so since there's none to talk about. Bro, we got no shortage of waifus. Except you. Shoot. Between the base game and a fair amount of mods, and I do mean a fair amount of mods, we Gucci brothers. We ain't starving today. Although, speaking of waifus, do not play Shauna. Totally do not play Shauna. If you whack like me, do not play Shauna. Shauna just makes this game entirely whack and totally not fun to play. All my homies hate Shauna, and you should totally not try Shauna, so you can beat the game. I sound like an IGN reviewer. Anyway, play One Step from Eden. This game is beyond solid, and I can't recommend this goodness enough. Don't play this fucking game.